Oh, so many things to unpack here. I don't even know where to begin. The Papaya Civil War has officially begun. We all owe Checo an incredible apology, and Kimi Antonelli is absolutely incredible. The FIA is being the FIA in all the worst ways imaginable. All this and more coming up in our Bahrain Grand Prix review. If you haven't already, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the race previews and reviews for Formula One and NASCAR. And we're also going to be jumping into politics. We're keeping all the videos separate though. So, don't like the politics, stay in the motorsports. You don't like football, stay in the motorsports. You like football, don't like motorsports, stay in the football. So, with the rebrand. Now, let's start with with Oscar Piastri and the McLarens and Lando Norris. There is something going on in that McLaren camp because as I was putting stuff together, I saw a quote from Oscar that looked like a direct shot at Lando. Because if you guys may remember, Lando was saying how the McLaren car isn't as good as what it sounds like. Max would be very surprised if he got into it. Really trying to downplay how good the car is. And I guess Oscar just came out and said, yeah, if you don't think our car is the best in the grid, I don't know what to tell you. Because this car is phenomenal. Which makes this very interesting. Because this could mean one of two things. Either Lando's trying to play poker face, and Oscar didn't get the memo, or McLaren is actually moving in the direction of Oscar and making the car for Oscar as opposed to Lando. So there is that. And that is very interesting in among itself. Now, let's take a look at the standings, shall we? So, Lando Norris still has the championship lead, only barely. Only barely. And that is why this video is titled "The Papaya Civil War Has Officially Begun." Oscar Piastri is 3 points. 3 points. 3. 3. Dale Earnhardt, number 3. 3 points back of Lando Norris for the championship. And then at nice 69 points, Max Verstappen sitting in third. And within earshot, George Russell. Again, putting the disclaimer, as it sits right now, the FIA has not come back on whether they're going to penalize Russell or not for the DRS infraction. So, this is as it sits. Russell is sitting in fourth, 6 points behind Max. So you have 4 cars essentially under a blanket for the Drivers' Championship. The Constructors, on the other hand, Mercedes is second with 93 to McLaren's 151. It is going to take one valiant effort from anybody to be able to catch the McLarens at this juncture. So I'm ready to just put the nail in that. Congrats, McLaren's 2025 Constructors Champions. The Drivers' Championship, however, very much up for grabs. Now, Lando Norris, he did not go through all of Bahrain without some mistakes. Um, right at the start, he rolled over his starting position. Did not start. Did not start in the correct starting position. So he was hit with a 5-second penalty on that, which really hurt him on being able to make that incredible championship-esque level comeback. So big mistake there. Uh, and then there's a pass on Lewis. Went wide, went off the track, had to give it back, costing him a couple extra laps. That turns out he really needed that couple extra laps as he just finished behind George Russell, second place. And the pit strategy, I mean, they were perfect. I don't know what else to tell you. It was absolutely flawless, absolutely perfect, both for Lando and Oscar. Tremendous job by the crew, by the strategist. They didn't put either one of them in a bad spot. Now, let's move on to George Russell. George Russell, uh, really good race. His crew kind of put him in some not very favorable situations with the tires, asking him to go incredibly long on softs. That is darn near illegal to ask for. I mean, let's be honest. It's damn near illegal to be asking George to pull that off with tires, and he somehow did. Now, the car was having some electronic gremlins, so to speak. The transponder wasn't working, therefore there was it was very hard to keep track of where he was on the track. Score pylon was all weird because of it. And so you had it was and I think the transponder is hooked into the DRS, which allowed the DRS to open at an improper time. And so that's what the current investigation is right now. And we are currently awaiting to see whether the FIA will come down with the with any sort of time penalty. Now, any sort of time penalty that comes down, which we're assuming it'd be 5 seconds, that will move George from second to fourth, promoting Lando to second and Charles Leclerc to the podium. Now, that I don't think there should be a penalty. It in no way, shape, or form helped him at all. He it was just a very, very weird situation that I don't think we would actually ever see. If he gained an advantage on it, then yeah, hit him with a penalty, but there wasn't any advantage gained. So that's that is my take on that. Then you have the Ferraris, fourth and fifth, as it sits. The Ferraris came out with a different strategy. They were originally going to be going with they were going to try going for a one-stopper. And with the way that it was going, I think it would have worked. I do believe it would have worked if they would have went with it. However, they bailed on it. They had to go very long with the hard tires, which were not very good in race trim at all. Ultimately costing Charles a shot at the podium. And Lewis was kind of hung out to dry. So, it was just a very unfortunate situation for the Ferraris. If they would have stuck with that one stopper, maybe. But it looks like the best strategy of the day was soft, medium, mediums. Uh, but yeah, I don't know what was going on with the hard tires. They just were not clicking very well with anybody. From Lewis, Charles, Max was just not a good tire for the for today. But would have really liked to see if Charles and Lewis could have made something happen on a one stopper. I think the conditions would have been okay for it. I don't. Maybe they gain. Maybe they end up finishing second, third, if they do. But again, I mean, trying to look at it, very hard to tell. I think they would have still ended up being a two stopper anyway because of the late safety car, which was very, very, very sus, very NASCAR esque. Oh yeah, debris, huh? So that is something that I would like a little bit more of an explanation on why it was called when it was, because that really hurt. That the timing of that really hurt a lot of the drivers because they were entering the pit cycle. So that needs an explanation. Max being one of them that it didn't help matters. Who was just having a day from hell. Sixth place is one hell of a recovery, given how bad the car is. So good for Max. Uh, I don't think any of us realized how truly awful this car is until the cracks really began to show. And I think everybody who has been crapping on Checo Perez, me included, owe Checo a massive, massive apology. Now, Yuki, on the other hand, tremendous job. Tremendous job by Yuki Tsunoda. Getting this tractor in the points. I mean, it seems like Yuki's car was a little bit better all weekend handling wise. Max just had all sorts of gremlins. He was able to edge out Pierre Gasly there towards the very end, which, looking at the gap, looks like a little bit sooner than what we thought, than what it seemed like on the broadcast anyway. But Pierre Gasly, tremendous day for him. Gets Alpine on the board, set in 7th. And then Ocon and Ollie Bearman giving Haas a double points weekend. 8th and 10th. Oliver Bearman, which he's my driver of the day. He got that bad boy from last to 10th. And for a rookie to do that, that is incredible. Give this kid a year or two, get him in that Ferrari. Get him in Lewis's seat. Because this kid is incredible. Speaking of incredible kids, Kimi and Antonelli. I mean, yeah, it didn't quite go the way that he wanted to, but man, he showed grit today. He is going to be a future world champion. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a championship within the next 3 years. Given where the trajectory of Mercedes, we'll have to see how much how on or off Mercedes are on the regulation changes next year, obviously. But with the current trajectory of which they're going, Kimmy's going to be a world champion by the end of the decade. Easily. Maybe multiple times. This kid has shown incredible promise. He's incredible. He is absolutely incredible. Then you have the RBs, very quiet down there in 14th and 17th. Isaac just getting seat time, same with Lawson. But yeah, so the Bahrain Grand Prix, quite the it was a good race. It was nothing like Japan. It wasn't the snore fest that Japan was. Incredible race to the end. George and Lando. Wish we would have got to see Max and Pierre, but the broadcast had something else on the screen. Why, I don't know, but and then Ollie Bearman going from 20th to 10th. Incredible drive by him. So yeah, they had quite a few interesting moments. Surprised only one car ended up getting a DNF with all the physicality that there was out there. So the next race is next weekend in the streets of Saudi. Very excited for that race. I do believe that this race is the race of the year so far. Granted, the race to the front was not wasn't particularly close. I mean, it was a 15-second gap, for crying out loud. But everything past that, just phenomenal. And it is the beginning. It is the official beginning of the Papaya Civil War. And I have a feeling that this is going to make Andrea Stella and Zach Brown's life a living hell. Because now that the two are essentially well within arm's reach. They are within a position of each other. This could end up getting very dramatic. This could end up getting very ugly behind the scenes, which, if you've seen the Silver Arrow War, you know it's gonna bleed over. Something's gonna get said about somebody's mama, and it's just gonna get ugly. But yeah, I would like to see what exactly was going on with the hard tires. Usually they're pretty solid around here. For whatever the reason, they weren't this time around. But yeah, I'm still in shock on how bad the Red Bulls are. Like they are. They have got to be. They're definitely worse than the McLarens, the Mercedes, the Ferraris. Struggled like hell against the Alpine and the Haas. So it kind of makes you wonder: are they like mid? Are they like mid tier, just with with an all world driver of Max Verstappen? And is this the doing of Adrian Newey being gone? I mean, there are a million questions to be asked. It is very unsettling as a Red Bull fan on which direction they're going, because Max is not going to be able to keep this up. He he's going to end up losing his mind. And Joss Verstappen, dear old dad, is going to be losing his mind a lot quicker than Max will. If they don't start turning the corner, oh, that Drive to Survive episode is going to be next level. It is going to be incredibly interesting, because we've already seen Joss and Christian not get along when Max is winning every week. Now things are beginning to go south, and go south quickly. With what I've seen out of these cars, Red Bull is mid-tier. Like, they are closer to Alpine than they are to McLaren, which makes what Max did last weekend even more incredible. And it also makes you wonder, what would have happened? What if McLaren didn't screw up the pit strategy last weekend in Japan? What if they made Max go off the optimal strategy? What if they had a little bit of brain power in Japan? What if? Because if they send Piastri down early, Max has got to come down and cover. And maybe Lando is able to get the overcut and be able to race his way to the front that way, having that clean air. Maybe Max gets stuck in traffic. And maybe this Papaya Civil War isn't as close as it is now, kind of making Zach Brown and Andrea Stella kind of pause and be like, no, we have to decide. If we get into one of those situations again, like Japan, of like, okay, we're going to have to decide who gets the optimal strategy and who gets the short end. And whoever gets the short end is going to be pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, this is going to get ugly. I don't think Zach Brown or Andrea Stella have the leadership skills to be able to manage this and keep this in-house. This is going to spill out. This is going to get ugly if it continues to be a very close battle for the championship between Lando and Oscar. And I am here for the downfall of the Papayas. It is it is going to be interesting. And the autofocus is going away. It is going to be quite interesting to see how this all pans out. It's going to be ugly. Something's going to get said about somebody's mama. Zach is going to be pulling out whatever's left of his hair. Yeah, it's going to be... It is going to be grab your popcorn and let's watch this. And somebody's going to take advantage of it. Whether it's Max, whether it's George, Kimi, Lewis, the Ferraris. With the unable to make a decision with Ferrari, or the blunders that they make, and they are going to continue to make them. They haven't shown a history of improving on the strategy. So something's going to happen that's going to set off Lando or Oscar. And we're going to get there is going to be a top tier driver on the market ready to sign with a good team in the next 2 years. I don't think this partnership is going to be able to last. Oscar kind of showed that here today by taking a subtle shot at Lando. I don't. They're not exact. I don't think they're like buddy buddy. I think there's some real heat there between Oscar and Lando. Otherwise, he wouldn't have. Otherwise, I don't think Oscar would have taken that subtle shot. And it's one of those. If you know, you know. Like I said earlier, Lando said Max would be surprised by getting in the car if he got in the McLaren. Doesn't drive as well as you think. And then Oscar comes out. Yeah, if you don't think we have the best car on the grid, you're crazy. So, yeah, this Papaya Civil War is going to get ugly. The relationship between Max and Red Bull, it's going to get ugly. There's a lot of ugliness coming in F1. And the next season of Drive to Survive, they're not going to have to add anything to make it more dramatic than what it is. There is some serious heat going on behind the scenes between Lando and Oscar, Max and Red Bull, Joss and Red Bull. It's going to get interesting. And we may not have to even wait for Drive to Survive to see emotions pour out. Because Max is very emotional. Very short-tempered. So keep an eye on his radio. Because one of these times, he's going to blow. We're going to see Max seeing red. It's going to happen this year. Undoubtedly. Especially when he gets that feel, that championship getting slip away. So, like I said, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can keep up on the Young and the Restless Formula One edition. This is essentially what this is going to turn into. We'll be back later this week for the Saudi preview. We'll be back later. We'll be back on for the Bristol review. Unless it ends up putting me to sleep, which looks like it's not going to, judging by the tire wear. And, yeah, we'll see you in the next video.